चरण कमलालयते अरणिमेष நேரமட்டில் தவ முறைதியானு வைக்க அறியாத சரண கமலாலயத்தை அரணிமேஷ நேரமட்டில் தவ முறைதியானு வைக்க அறியாத ஜடக ஷடமூடமட்டி பவ வினையிலே ஜனித்த தமிழின் மிதியார்மயக்கும் உருவேனோ ஜடக ஷடமூடமட்டி பவ வினையிலே ஜனித்த தமிழின் மிதியார்மயக்கும் உருவேனோ.
Hello everyone, welcome to the first episode of Talk 10 with Mahen. We are very, very happy today to be speaking to an outstanding vocalist. And as you can see on your screen, I'm referring to Sri Magantharen Balakisten. Welcome, Mahendran. So good to see you and so good to have this opportunity to talk to you.
Om Saravanapa. Vanakkam Akka, and thank you for having me, and greeting to all your viewers and listeners. It is, yes, indeed. It's wonderful to be seeing you and chatting to you again.
You know, Mahendran, I know that you are currently residing in Australia, but you're still very much a highly respected South African vocalist, and you are really missed by the South African music fraternity. So we're really keen to be touching base with you again. And let's talk about your music journey. It's been an interesting one. How old were you when you did your very first public performance? I'm sure it must have been when you were little. And what do you remember about it?
I was 4 years old. My parents, my mom and dad, used to sing in the Eisteddford, and they used to sing with their music guru, Mr. Vijay Segman Phillips of Pietermaritzburg, and they used to also sing in Durban. They had a group that took part in Eisteddford, and I was about 3 years old when they participated in a group item, and they learned the song Malai Mela Varugindra Madhava. I had learned the song, and then when I was 4 years old, we were visiting a relative in Durban who was singing at a wedding, and he knew that I could sing the song, so he asked me to sing at the wedding, and he played, and his family also played this harmonium and tabla, and I sang Malai Mela Varugindra Madhava. I was 4 years old. It was at a wedding, and there was a Tamil school teacher from Pietermaritzburg, from the TPA Tamil School. That's the Tamil Protective Association of Pietermaritzburg. One of the Tamil school teachers, Mrs. G. Naidu, happened to be at that wedding, and she recognized my parents. She found out that I lived in Pietermaritzburg as well, and she asked them to send me to Tamil school. So the next Monday, my grandfather took me to Tamil school, and that's where the whole journey just it took off. Yeah.
I think it's such a beautiful way to have started, Magen. But let's move on. You know, I'm so impressed, and I want to congratulate you. You're very much an international artist now. But what comes out very strongly is your very deep and sincere devotion to Lord Muruga. How are you serving Lord Muruga in terms of your music?
It is only through His will and grace that I am able to serve. I understand that and fully surrender to that concept. So the way it's unfolded is that I enjoy serving Him most through the music of Thirupugazh. Much of my time is spent singing Thirupugazh or tuning some of them. But it's through Thirupugazh that you get to ask Muruga to bless you with the devotion. Through the Thirupugazh, then it will allow you to believe how Muruga can also grace you to be a devotee. Being devoted to Muruga is not only when you pray or only when you see him. Being devoted to Muruga is permanent all the time. When you're walking, when you're driving to work, when you're working, when you're coming home, when you're sleeping, the devotion to him and serving him doesn't stop.
He's certainly gracing you, Magendran. I am aware that you are teaching students Thirupugar. Now, if somebody wants to learn from you, how can they access your music, or how do they get in touch with you if their children want to learn? Perhaps you can just advise us.
Some of my music is available on YouTube, and there has been some attempt to make it available on other platforms. You can reach out via Facebook, or I could share a number with you that you could leave down in a link below. And I have classes every week on Zoom. I have music classes where I teach Sangeetam, and I have 2 Thirupugar classes where I just teach Thirupugar. We do 1 Thirupugar every week. We cover pronunciations as far as He would bless us, and we cover the meaning as far as He would bless us, because one line in 1 Thirupugar can be expanded and spoken about for hours or days and weeks, and still more meaning would come from it. So we try to capture the gist of the Thirupugazh, and we asked the devotees who learn, they can sing it repetitively, and with the more devotion and love they sing it with, they will be graced with the wisdom of the Thirupugazh and understanding it pertaining to themselves. Yeah. So I teach on Friday evenings and Saturday afternoons, and we have participants who learn Thirupugazh. I don't think of them as students. They are devotees of Muruga who join and sing Thirupugazh with me. We sing together, and they are from various countries. There's participants from Perth here in Australia, Malaysia, Mauritius, South Africa, UK, France, and a few other South Africa as well, of course. A lot of friends and family and devotees of Muruga from South Africa.
Again, just as a quick fact, how many Thirupugar songs are there? And perhaps how many do you know?
It is believed that Arunagiri Nadar may have written some 16,000 Thirupugar, but there are only 1,000, I believe 1,300 or so, or 1,000, it's just around less or more, plus minus 1,500. This figure was a bit more clear to me, but I think 1,360 odd Thirupugar, or maybe slightly more that are available. But yes, just to give you an idea, midway between 1,000 and 2,000 are available. And from my experience, there's a Thirupugar for every being and for every situation, every hurdle you can experience in life. You will find, by the grace of Muruga, you will find the answer in the Thirupugar. It's all, the Thirupugar is just so conclusive, so expansive. So it's just, I cannot find enough adjectives to describe it.
I know that you've also done very, very sterling work as far as the Kanda Shasti Kavasam goes. And, you've initiated this and propagated it at various temples in South Africa. Can you perhaps tell us a little bit about that whole project?
Kanda Shasti Kavasam was my 3rd recording. It was 2012. And there was something had definitely changed during the process of recording that. And the journey with Lord Muruga restarted there. And I say restarted because my family reminded me that when I was very young, I had a very close attraction towards Lord Muruga. They would always bribe me to eat certain types of food, saying these are Muruga's favorites, like my vegetables. They'll say, Muruga loves this vegetable, you should eat it. And they claim that I used to eat it. As I grew up, I remember my mom giving me a few books written by Swami Sivananda, yoga lessons for children. I learned about the Dasavadaram, became very fascinated with the Dasavadaram of Lord Narayana, especially Narasimha Avatar. Later, when I was a teenager, I had joined my mother's group in South Africa. I obviously went to town school at the TPA town school, as I mentioned earlier, where I learned my music there. And I got to express a lot of devotion at the Northdale Sivanyana Sabha, where a lingam and a Nataraja is installed. I thought I was in a very satisfying place until I recorded the Kanda Shasti Kavasam and found that Devaraya Swamigal, who had written this, had mentioned so many things that I felt I was lost in. And then this journey restarted with Muruga to be one who was born on this earth, to also be able to understand what someone like Devaraya Swamigal and other great saints associated with Lord Muruga understood. I felt that, trying to live in a pious way and trying to live a good life, in some way or the other, I was sincere enough for Muruga to at least consider that I should also understand what it is that he wrote in the Kandashasti Kavasam. So through the Kandashasti Kavasam, we recorded in 2012, and then a different journey unfolded with music for Lord Muruga. And then we recorded Kandar Anubudhi as well, which is one of the epic pieces written by Arunagirinatha Swamigal. And we've also recorded a few of Srimad Swamigal's music. And last year for Kandashasti, I re-recorded the Kandashasti Kavasam in a South African bhajan style with a few of my students, Zoom students, who learned music from me on Zoom, as well as my son, Desh Balakisten, also sang. So it was our second Kandashasti. It was completely different from the traditional one. And yeah, the journey continues, there's nothing conclusive. It's just, Muruga is infinite, so everything associated with him takes on that garb of infinity. It'll never be enough. Knowing a little bit about it brings more and more and more. All the things associated with him reflects his infinity.
I love the idea that you're so immersed, in your devotion to Lord Muruga. Magen, where can we listen to both versions of that Kandashasti? Is it on your YouTube channel, both of them?
Yes, both are on the YouTube channel. The most recent one, I was lucky enough that a few devotees in South Africa made a beautiful video of Lord Muruga in Clarewood, Sadar Road Temple, commonly known as Sadar Road Temple, but the correct name was Clarewood Sri Subramania Temple for Lord Muruga. They've made a beautiful video of Archane for the song, so you can listen to the Kandashasti Kavasam and have the darshan of Archane for Sadar Road Muruga.
Thank you, Magen, for that information. You've been so blessed to go to beautiful places of worship of Lord Muruga throughout the world. There's so much of peace and sanctity and joy that you derive when you see the beautiful murtis of Lord Muruga.
I have been to many Muruga temples in South Africa. I've enjoyed singing all of them, in all of them. But at Clarewood Sri Subramania Temple, when my kids were old enough to go to school, they schooled near Clarewood. So I used to be able to leave them at school and stop over and see Muruga and sing a few thirupagar in the morning. There used to be nobody, hardly anyone, maybe a few visitors. And so I grew very close to him very late in my life. But I'm from Pietermaritzburg, and there is also the temple in Pietermaritzburg that enshrines Lord Muruga there. It's the Pietermaritzburg Sri Subramanian Mariamman Temple. Before I move away too much, also in South Africa, I've had close association with the Magazine Barracks Temple, Sri Muruga Kovil in Phoenix, Drake Village Temple, Melrose Temple, and a few others. I've enjoyed singing at all Muruga temples equally. I was invited to sing in Mauritius in 2016 to raise funds to rebuild the Mauritius Murugan Mali Kovil. It seemed that Lord Muruga and Mauritius had taken me to Mauritius himself. Having got there and understood the people and understood why I'd gone there, I grew extremely close to him and still continue to maintain a very close relationship with Mauritius Muruga and all his devotees. While I was in Mauritius, I also visited many other temples. I've seen Muruga and Kapmaliore Temple, and I've also seen Malay Guru in Katarbon as well. I've had a chance to sing Kandashasti for him very privately. So yes, there's many temples, too many to mention. In Malaysia, I've also visited many temples. I had sung in the Arunagirinatha Thirupugar held by the Ipoh Arunagirinatha Mandram. And in Ipoh, the Murugan temple I have visited, and also nearby various other temples. But I remember all the images very, very, very detailed. So wherever I see him, it's easy to remember how he is residing there, what mudras he has, Abhayam Varada Mudra, or whether he's holding Shakti Bear, Jnana Bear, whether he has Bali and Devayani Amma, whether he has a peacock, and all of this. And in India, I have been blessed to visit very many temples, including Arupadevidu Murugan temples. And I've also sang in all of those temples, Thirupugar, not on an official capacity, but on my visit there, I was given a fair chance to sit down next to the temple and sing as many Thirupugar as I could each time. So I'm very blessed. on an unofficial capacity, I've sang for Muruga, Thirupugazh at all the Arupade Viru temples. We also had the blessing to visit Sri Magantharen Balakisten-Hosted ashram in Chennai, Thiruvangmiyur. And when we visited all the temples, we could see the granite stones on the walls of Kumarashtavam and Shanmuga Kavasam, and we were also able to start that in South Africa in about 4 temples, and later on I think a few other temples received those as well. So it's those granite wall mountings of these sacred pieces by Sri Magantharen. So yeah, Perth is Perth Sri Murugan, and when I came to Australia, as soon as I landed here, my first stop was to see the closest Muruga temple. And I felt blessed that not more than 20 minutes away, Perth Sri Muruga is resident. And since then, I got into the habit of visiting him every Sunday morning before the devotees come, and I was allowed to sing Thirupugazh for 2 or 3 hours. During COVID, we had to slow down, of course, which then meant a lot more singing at home. But it had its purpose, because during that time, I finished my last recording of the Satru Samara Velpadigam, which was received very well by the devotees over the last 6 months. Around the world, they've been very, they've used this, everybody's used it to make videos and during their own devotion. It was played during Battumalai caves, because there was no Kavadi, public Kavadi, they had it all telecast, and they used the song as well. So it was very good. It's important that we surrender to Muruga, and we understand that everything is ultimately through his will and his grace. All things, he is omnipresent, he is in everything, and he's infinite. That means every atom and molecule and everything else, he's available in everything. So there's nothing that happens or doesn't happen where we may feel that we are away from him. I think it's important at times like this to understand that our Kavadi festivals allow us to express our devotion during that time. But it does not mean that our devotion is only expressed during that time. We should worship Muruga with every breath. Then if we carry Kavadi, it's extra special. If we cannot and he wills that we can't, he will will something else, and it's for us to find that. My thoughts is that always at all times we should surrender to Muruga. There's no need to be concerned. For me, the concept of Muruga is, if the entire existence had to be personified, and such a being is what I'm referring to Muruga. This part of my journey, he's presented himself as Muruga, and I am very grateful. I cannot quantify that. So yeah.
I think that's so beautifully said, Magen. Really, it is. Let's just move on to something technical. I think you could be a great motivator for those who are learning. How do you value the importance of practice, commitment to music? Maybe you can share some of your ideas about that.
Practice, and then after that, practice, and after that, practice. And then when you're done, just practice again. With anything in life, repetition and practice is of utmost. Whether it's school and you want to excel in a certain subject, you got to repeat it. You got to repeat the exercises. You got to practice it over and over until you've mastered it. It's the same with anything else. If you're a teenager and you're going to learn to drive, you can't expect to jump in a car and just start driving. You're going to have to go to the driving school. They're going to take you for 10 or 20 lessons, and you're going to have to practice. And then for the rest of your life, you get better at it. You just get better and better and better. With music, it's just the same. The thing is, music does come from within. It is sacred. Gangadaran Geedam Agiya Swaralaya Kripagaran Kartigeyan. This music of ours in this Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma or Carnatic music or Hindustani music that we say came from the Samaveda, it is sacred. It is a Bhakti Yoga. Yesterday we were learning Aingarane Vaktumanam, and there were some devotees who just couldn't help it. They were just so happy. They were crying, and it was just in that particular song. Arunagirinathar wrote in the first person style. So when you sing the song, you get to ask for the things directly. But it was so beautiful. And this kind of music, and even for those who are learning, in 1 hour, an 8-line Thirupugazh, we must be covered it about 10 times. And then they get an audio and they have to practice and practice and practice. On a more technical side, these the music system is not something that was just thought up. Apart from it, that we are taught that it comes from the Samaveda. It may have been split in north and south, and people would have been learning it for many years, like in a Gurukula Vasam system, where you go to a teacher and learn his style of singing. But we are grateful that there are great musical saints like Purandara Dasar, who's written out a proper system to give you an opportunity to master the Sangeetam in your own way. He set out Sarali Varasegal, Chanda Varasegal, Datu Varasegal, all the sthais, singing in different octaves, the Geetams, the Varnams, and Kriti, so many compositions he has. So there's a system to learn it. And the thing about the system is it's such a beautiful system. The more you sing it, the more you get from it. So I've learned Sarali Varasegal when I joined town school when I was 4 years old. That's the first lesson in music. My teacher taught me from there onwards, and up to now, that means I have been singing this. Like if I'm going to sing now, I'll sit down and for half an hour, I will sing that first lesson, Sarali Varasegal, and then I will sing. And if I will sing in a particular raga like Kalyani, I'll sing that first. So that music lessons that you learn is not something you learn and leave behind and move on. Yes. It's not something you learn and forget. You carry it for the rest of your music journey. Some of the concepts don't just come immediately. You got to try it again. Yeah. So my advice is practice, and then practice some more.
Especially in this time of this pandemic, people are going through several challenges, and especially mental health is a very significant issue that, we need to take care of our well-being and our mindset. Maybe you want to very kindly sing a beautiful shlokam or a little song. Let's spread some divine Lord Muruga's energy for whoever's listening to.
I'll sing a short Thirupugar, Avinasi Thirupugar. Arunagirinathar has written this for Lord Muruga in Avinasi. Muruga Saran. Piramamal Yenayal Sadguruvagi Piravagi Tiramana Peruvagi Taruvagi Kuramadai Punarvone Gugane Sutkumare Sam Aranalai Pugalvone Avinasi Perumale Avinasi Perumale Avinasi Perumale Avinasi Perumale Avinasi Perumale Avinasi Perumale.
Thank you, Magen. So beautiful, so lovely to hear you sing live. Magen, we will wrap up this interview. Again, I want to say how grateful I am. You are super busy, you have your regular job. I think you are an engineer. Am I correct? You are an engineer?
Yes.
That is a demanding occupation, and you still make the time for music, which we are all so happy about, because then you're sharing this wonderful music with all the devotees, all your fans, all your friends throughout the world. In conclusion, what are your parting thoughts for your many fans, especially in South Africa? And also, what are your thoughts for helping people to navigate these difficult times, Magen? What are your thoughts?
I don't know about fans, Saka. I know the devotees of Lord Muruga, but not so much fans, more the devotees. I hope to serve them, the devotees of Lord Muruga, through the music. In conclusion, also, before we round up, I must also give thanks to my teachers who have taught me music and spirituality. When I was born, my parents' music teacher, Mr. Vijay Segman Phillips, I was given to him musically, and up to now, he still guides me. He is my first guru. He still gives me guidance. And when I entered Tamil school at the TPA Tamil school, as soon as I started when I was 4 years old, I was enrolled in the music classes under Miss Dhanalakshmi Naika. And she's taught me so much of Sangeetam, all, up to Varnam level, I learned from her. And, she was really drove us to practice hard. And I also learned to read and write Tamil from Miss Dhanalakshmi Naika, Miss G. Naidu, and Mrs. G. Naidu, and Mrs. Mahenthri Pillay at the TPA Tamil School. And I'm ever grateful for that, because I can only read the Thirupugazh now because through their teachings. Of course, in my late teen years, I was guided significantly in Carnatic music by my guru and also family, Isai Selva Mahenthri Pillay. He's helped me put a lot of those musical knowledge that I had or whatever I had acquired. He helped me a lot to put that together into something that I could deliver. And I'm ever grateful for that. And of course, in my adult years, I had come in contact with Chitravina Ravikiran sir for a short period in India. But the short period that I had spent with him, he encouraged me a lot. And so I kept in touch with him over the years. And since 2005, I've been in contact with him, and he still continues to give guidance. And occasionally I can partake in a lesson of his, and it's very inspirational. And he understands my journey with music and how I want to express the music for Lord Muruga. He is fully in tune with that, and he supports that. And that's how I approached him. I see, when he inquired, why do you want to learn music? I said, listen, I go to sing to Pala Murugan, and I just want that when I am singing, it's the best that I have to give him. So he's very in tune with that, and he helps me increase that a little all the time. For all the ills in the world, I can definitely say all the devotees of Lord Muruga, and even if you're not, you should sing Thirupugazh. It has a cure for all ills. You will find in there Vedic wisdom, Agama wisdom. You will find wisdom for someone who has no knowledge at all. Whether you are a king or a beggar, you can sing Thirupugazh and find the Thirupugazh in how to speak to Lord Muruga. Whether you are a complete expert and very knowledgeable, or whether you are utter fool, still Thirupugazh is there. You can find the Thirupugazh that's suited for you to enhance your journey to the feet of Lord Muruga. As soon as you think of his lotus feet, automatically all your actions get wiped out. So yes, think of Lord Muruga's feet and shine it in your heart. And I pray Muruga bless everybody as well.
Thank you so much, Magendran. Blessings to your family, for your well-being, for your protection, for your happiness and prosperity at all times. And continue with the wonderful work that you are doing. And you're so lovingly sharing this beautiful music journey with us. And we're very, very grateful. Thank you so much, and take great care, Magendran. We will be in touch. All the best.
Oh, thank you very much.